goes in on the fourth line for Cole?
Yes.
Yeah. And then your third D pair?
It'll be Samberg and Stanley. So Nate will come out tonight.
Okay. You mentioned the other night after the game.
Now I'm in trouble.
No. It just so that you'll get a better understanding of how it works. When you were saying, some line changes were untimely, and I think back to that game on November 2nd in Vegas where a couple of line changes resulted in goals. What's the anatomy of that? I mean, is that players policing themselves in terms of when to make the right change, in terms of not leaving teammates in peril? Do the coaches monitor that? How does that all work?
That's up to the players. Have to make the right. They've got to read the situation. If you look at the second goal, they got that defenseman has total control of the puck, so you've got to be able to see that. So at that point, there's no you can't be, especially in the second period, you can't be running up to the bench. We want our weak side winger holding a lot longer, so that puck can't come where it came. So it is choreographed more than you think, but it's up to the players to make that read. So the last forward off the ice should be the weak side forward. So he's protecting that against that pass. The first guy off the bench comes over and replaces him. Okay, but now you're relying on your defense standing there as well, that they're inside our blue line, they're inside their blue line, total possession of the puck. Well, we can't change, but we changed, and it cost us a goal again. So those are the details that we spend. We go over. We went over that again today on the video. Like, okay, and also we talk about shift lanes. So don't put yourself in that position where you're that tired that you're going to make a bad change. But it is more choreographed than you would think, but that's what we want to do. When we're arching in the middle of a change in that neutral zone, and specific to that second period, the last forward off the ice should be the weak side forward, and the first guy off the bench should be replacing him. Now you've bought time, okay? But the D certainly can't change when they're standing with full possession of the puck. Just a bad change.
And on the penalty killing, the last half dozen games or so, the faceoffs have been quite tilted. You're 2-25. How much is that factoring? And I know you've talked about clears and that sort of thing too, but how much is that factoring into how you've struggled?
Absolutely. The power plays now, I mean, they're also good. They all have set plays off of lost faceoffs or one faceoff. So we're spending, when we're losing them that clean, you're letting the opposition set up and make some plays. Then they get to the shots, and then the scramble is on. So we're spending a lot of unnecessary time in our zone on the penalty kill, first and foremost because of faceoffs, and the second thing with that would be when we have that opportunity to put it 200 feet down, just put it down. So those two areas lead you to spend too much time in your zone.
That long shift thing you're talking about before you change, I guess you're wrestling with the temptation, the natural inclination. Hey, a little more offense, create some more offense. Right?
Yeah, you play faster when your shifts are shorter. We'll play faster. Now, in fairness, there's sometimes the other team has you hemmed in your zone, and they're just making good plays, and you give them credit. So at that point, okay, then suck it up and buy some time and just collapse tighter around the net front and protect the guts of the ice and give them the outside. And sometimes the opposition is making, like, we'll hem teams in their opposition zone, in their zone, and give us credit when we do that, and give the other team credit as well. But there are situations that in the neutral zone specific that you cannot make changes.
Vegas compared to last year's team?
Well, they're a little different because it's, they're missing Stone and that, but they're a hell of a team. They're big and they're heavy, and that's how they play. Then all their defense are big and heavy. They keep you to the outside, and it's going to be a battle. And Eichel's back now, and they've got a hell of a hockey team over there. There's no question, and they'll be taking. They're legitimate contenders again, obviously, regardless where they are in the standings. We don't look at that. We look at that as a great team over there. That's going to be big tonight, and it's going to make it very hard for us to play against.
People are looking at potential first-round matchups already, depending where you might finish. What's the importance of where you finish as opposed to how you're playing in 10 games from now?
Well, you want to be playing your best. Like we've got 10 games here. We've got to, first of all, we got to get in. We're not in yet. Second of all, we want to make sure that we're playing the right way, and we're on top of the changes, and we're on top of the specialty teams. Something that we have to really work hard on and put a lot of focus on over the next 10 games, and then the rest will take care of itself. Yeah, you start on the road. You start on the road. Ideally, you start at home because you get the matchups you want and everything else. But the most important thing is to make sure that we're on top of our 5-on-5 team game, on top of our specialty teams. And that's, again, every game now is so important. So that heightened energy that you're going to need to play a big team like tonight, it has to come up. It's playoff intensity right now. It is, and there's no shortcuts.
So you're not looking closely at the matchup, who it might be then
No,
round one.
not yet. We're just focusing so much on getting this team ready and getting in and getting it ready. We've even the last game, like we played 40 really good minutes and we played 120. We have to eliminate that 20.
Rick, will Dylan Samberg play the right side?
He'll play the right side.
That's a pairing you haven't gone with.
No.
Samberg. Is that one you just want to get a look at, or is it Logan's last game you didn't want to take him out after that
Logan's
game?
been fine, and he gives us that big physical presence back there that you need against a team like Vegas. And, he gets into a scrap, and he's done the things we need him to do. So, and we like him better on the left side than the right side. So we'll try Dylan here, right?
I know you were asked about him on Tuesday. A couple more days have passed. Got another skate today. Do you have kind of a potential timeline for Gabe in mind of best case, worst case here? Or?
We'll know better after tomorrow. He hasn't had a chance to have a full practice. We're going to skate as a team tomorrow. We'll practice, and we'll know much better than that. But he tells me he feels good. I know the coaches are pushing him hard. He has no discomfort. So every day he's getting a lot closer, but we'll have a better feel for that tomorrow after practice.
Rick, I wanted to ask about Cole Perfetti. He sat for a while there and then got into the 3 games. What did you see from him over the 3 games that he got into?
He's handling it well. It's a tough situation for a young player, but, as I told him when my first year in Tampa, man, we sat Cooch for a couple of games, right? And look where he goes. So it's all part of learning to be a good pro. It's tough on him. He's handling it extremely well. It's not that we've got bodies. We're trying to use bodies against certain teams, different matchups, different lineups. He's not like he's played himself out of there. He didn't. But we're trying to go with lineups that we feel give us the best chance to win that game. And it's tough on a young player like Cole. He's never had to go through something like this. So we had a good talk this morning. Listen, I feel for him. I get it. He wants to play. They all want to play. And we can't keep everyone happy. It's impossible, right? It's impossible. Everyone wants to play 20 minutes. Can't be done. So we do the best we can. And we try to explain as much as we can and be very honest with the conversations with the players. We're very honest and upfront with Cole, but he's handling it well. That doesn't mean he's accepting. He's not. So I get that, and I love that about that. You got to fight back a little bit. But did he play himself out of the lineup from his game last game? No, he didn't. Are we using a different lineup tonight because it's Vegas? Yeah.
Is it the big physicality, Vegas, you mentioned the matchup, is that why?
You look at that fourth line, they play and they play it a lot. They're big and they're physical, and they're going to come at you, and you got to be able to match it. That line against in the playoffs last year, that was a dominant line for them. Started every game, every period. They did a lot of great things because they're big, they're heavy, and they're coming at you. And we got to make sure we can match that as best we can.
Rick, when a group commits mental errors, like maybe referring to the second period of the last game, when you talk about puck management or line changes, how do you as a coaching staff help them as a group overcome a spate of mental errors?
Well, we deal with it right away. I mean, we're dealing with it on the bench as the game's unfolding in front of us, so they see what we see. I mean, they're not blind. So we say, listen, they obviously returned the puck over, and then we addressed it again after the second period. And that it's the period break you get a chance to clear your head and get, okay, we saw it. He's right. So we got to turn that around. And then we did in the third. But sometimes in the course of the game, you get out there and you just can't clear your mind to do those things, right? It's just the game's fast. You don't have enough time between shifts to get that all straightened out. And what I always say, if one line's having a tough time, I'm always telling them on the bench, next line has to get us going again. Next line has to get us going again. Get this thing turned around. Easier said than done, right? Because there's another team out there. But those are things that we're constantly addressing.